everyone. Episode 4 of the Holesome podcast. Feels like we've had 50 episodes already, but episode 4, we're going to recap the BustaJack Invitational. Brad and I were lucky enough to get an invite. We signed a team up and we got after it. So we're going to talk about it. If you don't know who BustaJack is, I'm about to tell you about him. So back in July, I played in the USAM qualifier. I was just playing basically for fun, right? I didn't think that I had much of a chance to get through, but it was at Trinity Forest, one of my favorites in the Metroplex. So I signed up, played, got paired with a guy named Mason Nutt. And throughout the day, got to know him a bit. Mason is one of the two guys that run a TikTok, YouTube, Instagram influencer page called BustaJack Golf. They're from here in DFW area, both really good players and even better dudes. After a while, I played with them a handful of times and just became, pretty good friends, chatting a bit about the golf industry, what I could do to help them and vice versa. And it's been a really cool friendship. It's been fun to watch them grow. They have done some amazing things, some super cool videos. If you don't follow them on every social media platform. You will not be disappointed. Just good dudes, just guys you want to hang out with. And I think this event that they put on really shows that because of how the turnout. So the tournament was at General Creek in Prosper on the north side of DFW. It's one of my favorites. A lot of fun. It's just not overly hard, easy off the tee box, which is obviously one of my favorite. Screens are always awesome, and the staff is great. So they hosted this their first tournament that they've ever hosted. BustaJack Invitational is what it was called. Brad and I were lucky enough to get the invite, and we put together a little team with some buddies, and we went out there and kind of got after it. So it was a blast. They had just to talk about how many people were there and excited to be there. We teed off right at noon, and at 10 o'clock, I got a text from one of the guys on our team that said, "I'm here. This place is packed." So 2 hours before, in my head, I kind of chuckled because I was like, "Damn, he's there way early." But then I was a little bit jealous that he was there getting to hang out and see all the festivities before me. So I got there about an hour and 15 minutes before we teed off, and they had PXG on the range. They had Flight Scope on the range. They had a mobile coffee shop. I'm not really a coffee drinker, so I didn't check it out, but I heard it was awesome. And then they were out just greeting people, talking to people. The swag that they gave out was awesome. Great head cover. Just everything about it was just world class. And I played in a bunch of events, and it was a great time from the time you got there until the time we left. So I'll let Brad talk about a little bit about how we played, but it was a competitive event, a lot of good players, and we wanted to beat the BustaJack boys. Not that we don't love them, because I think they're great, but we just a little competition we had in our own heads to try and beat them. So
yeah, no, I mean, there's one of the situations where they probably didn't even know that we want to, maybe they did, just from a little banter back and forth. But no, it was a good time. As I was telling them, earlier today in a post that they kind of recapped on their pages, and my response to them was like, the vibes were at an all-time high, because they were. I mean, you stepped in kind of the confines of General Creek Country Club there, and you immediately knew, like, this is a legit event. Like, like you said, Connor, you know, we've both played fundraising events. We played, you know, every type of event you can imagine, and seen all sorts of different swag. And you just kind of stepped in there, had a different vibe, had a fun, relaxed, laid back, but then at the same time, like kind of the competitor in me was like, this is awesome that they've got, you know, things like PXG. They've got, you know, wedge stamping that you can get done. You can go get on FlightScope and, you know, check some numbers out. So some fun stuff, some things that, you know, maybe you could needle your friends a little bit about if you're out there wanting to do like a little friendly, you know, long drive or something. And, you know, I know that I was not going to step up against you after you pumped 322 in the air on the range, but no, it
That was
was,
that was the second serve. I didn't even hit that one hard.
hey, it was perfect. It's perfect.
I'm just kidding.
It
I'm
was
just kidding.
perfect.
It was downwind, and
It's
but it
dialed.
was super cool to see the flight scope numbers and just the flight scope rep right there, just talking about, you know, the launch monitor, what it does, and all those things. Like, that's really cool. And you can see it if you watch the BustaJack guys. You can see it in their videos a lot. They hit balls in a basically just the garage is what I call it, but they just rip balls into a net, and you'll see the feed of them doing closest to the pin challenges. It's very cool, and I would say that the flight scope is super accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. Speaking of legit, the prizes that they had for this thing. I mean, what they had, $500 rollback gift card if you would, you know, straightest drive. You had, I believe it was QT drinks every day for a year if you hit it closest to the pin on one of the par threes. You got I believe the other one of the other par threes was like a T box membership for a year and some swag. I'm trying to remember what the last one was.
Sugar Daddy wedges, a
Ah,
set of
yeah,
wedges, custom fit wedges from PXG. I mean, that's pretty sweet. You know, for normally, not to knock any other events, but like normally a good closest to the pin prize is like a dozen balls, and that's fine, right? Like, it's still a $50 prize,
yeah,
and so to give away three wedges custom fit is just absurd. So
yeah.
super sick, and then the prizes for winning.
Yeah, I mean, the winning team got each individual person fully fit PXG driver. So you essentially get to go to the PXG store here in Dallas and go through the full fitting experience there, which is cool. I haven't been there yet to the new PXG store, so that's a pretty cool thing for the winning team. And then you also got um, a flight scope Mevo, right? The kind of the little mini guy, which is pretty legit prize in itself, like
Yeah,
$500. I mean, stupid prizes. These are things that I would have never played for in any other event. So ultimately, like that allure for us as competitors was like, okay, we're gonna go win this thing. Like immediately, I mean, we had been talking about this, you know, for multiple weeks leading up to it. And like, our only goal is to go there and win because
yeah,
why not? The prizes are awesome, and selfishly, we're like, hey, this would be awesome because of the fact that like this is a cool place where we could just kind of maybe wear the logo around a little bit, get some people to kind of get a little bit of a feeler for, you know, Wholesome, knowing that we're a little bit newer. So this is there's a good opportunity for us to kind of network the brand, you know, put the brand out there a little bit and have some people react to the logo and obviously maybe have a chance to needle the boys a little bit if we can come away with the dub. And don't want to spoil anything quite too much yet, but we can kind of start diving into kind of how the round started, where we started, and kind of maybe a little bit of the heater we caught right off the gate.
yep. And I got a surprise question for you
Okay.
that leads to another surprise question, and I'm gonna stump you. I'm pretty sure. So
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, but I talked to Mason today, and the winning team got two more things. One thing they got was a uh, free entry into next year's event,
Mm.
and BustaJack had custom flags made on every flag stake on the whole golf course, and they got a couple extra, and they forgot to give them out. So, um, yeah, pretty sweet little deal there. But
That's a nice little bonus.
yeah, we what what people that know General Creek are gonna hear it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you should shoot 24 under out there." But it was a little bit of a colder day.
Yeah.
The wind, I think the high was like 68 or something like that. Um, Wind out of the north and blowing pretty hard. So uh, I I've played that golf course many times, and I do believe that the north wind is the harder wind of the two. The finish, I think the finish is a little bit easier the last couple of holes, but for the most part, the golf course plays quite a bit harder. And so Mason, of course, started us on a par five. He didn't want to give us an advantage. 2B, we had to watch the group in front of us hit, tried to make us nervous. Uh, but we started with two good ones, and started with an eagle, and got the chirping going. So I sent Mason a video of the tap in eagle on two from right off the bat, and he was triggered. He was like, "What the heck? A dart right off the bat? They throw a dart for an eagle." So we got it started there, and then it kind of rolled, and we were cruising.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I think it's kind of one of those situations where you know that these type of things you have to go low if you want any prayer. I'm obviously the beauty of this format being a scramble and this tournament in general. I've played in other 4-man scrambles where you can buy the mulligans and you can essentially get all the cheater strokes you want. Like, no, this was about as legit gets when it comes to a scramble, because not only were there no shots that you could get, there were people, they had stations on every hole, but there were probably people every 2 or 3 holes that were taking scores down, pretty much there to try to keep everybody honest. Probably especially due to the nature of the prizes that were being given out. And I don't blame them, because I mean, it's
Right.
legit. Like, you got to go out, you got to shoot a score. And to your point, like the golf course, it was my first time seeing General Creek. And I could definitely tell once we stepped off the golf course that the holes that played hard, if the wind was flipped, they would play dramatically easier. And those holes were already the hard holes on the golf course. So they were playing into the wind, and playing more difficult. So, us starting on a par five, starting with an eagle, I think it kind of takes a little bit of the monkey off your back right out the jump, because like, hey, 200 through one, let's get this going. Scramble format. You don't have to sit there and go like, okay, par five, we have to make birdie or we have to make eagle. Like, it just happened. And then I think naturally we just kind of settled in pretty quick. I mean, 4 solid golfers, having, 3 or 4 golf balls on every hole in play, 3 or 4 golf balls on every shot that were giving us a good opportunities to pick from, to give us good looks. And then kind of the putters started getting real hot there, right out the jump. I know obviously we, eagled the first hole, so eagled number 2, and then we birdied off 3, and then we went to 4, which I believe is probably, is it 4 or 5 that you consider one of the harder holes, that was playing into the wind?
Yeah, four is definitely a really hard
Yeah,
hole. I think we had 200 in as a par four.
yeah,
So hitting five, and it was into the wind, so you're hitting 5 iron in there. But I mean, we don't have to go through every hole, but it was
yeah,
just really hit it well, and just kind of, we enjoyed each other, which was the most important part, just having fun. Um, and then the putters, like you said, got hot. I will say that it's a bit unfair because I truly have played there so many times, and I really feel comfortable on the greens. So it just I did get the putter going more than I probably should have. So uh, yeah, we made a lot of bombs,
Yes.
um, but we'll get to. We had an 85 footer or so drop on the 12th hole,
Yeah.
which doesn't typically happen, right?
No.
Uh, and then 2 holes later, our boy Brad from 208 yards. This is another long par four. And this hole, I've played this hole a million times, and it typically plays from the south wind, and you hit anywhere from like pitching wedge to lob wedge into it, depending on how hard the wind is blowing. It is a long hole, but it's wide open. You just hit it as hard as you can. You get down there, and it's rolled out, and you have wedge in. Well, we into the wind, we hit a pretty good drive. It was in the rough, but it was a pretty long drive, and we still had 208 in. And Brad, you hit probably one of the best shots, maybe the best shot I've ever seen.
It's probably the best shot that I've hit some really, really good shots, but I've been replaying it pretty much since it happened in my mind over the last pretty much 24 hours. And I just sit there and think like, man, like I can't really pinpoint a shot where I had a picture in mind when I stepped over the ball and the ball did exactly what I wanted it to, and I hit it the exact way I wanted to. And it just kind of, you know, boom, there you go.
Went straight in.
Yeah.
So 208 into the wind, basically a full bore 4-iron. That's probably a 225 club for you.
Yeah.
Right around there. And so that just shows how long it was playing. And this green has a ridge right in the middle. It's nothing crazy, like it's nothing insane, but you you have to hit it on the right side of the tier to have a good look. And we basically were just trying to give ourselves a good chance. You hit this thing, started right center of the green, and as soon as you hit it, I remember saying, "Oh, Bradley," kind of joking, like this is really good. And then when it hit the ground, I mean, it literally hit directly at the flagstick and just it disappeared. So I think it hit like probably 8 feet short interval right in the center.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, it's maybe the best shot I've ever seen. I've seen some good ones, but from 208 into the wind, out of the rough to that, to that pen was really really sick. So it was awesome to watch, and that it just kept the vibes going. We were already kind of cruising, having a good time. Everyone's laughing, and then
Yeah.
you make it, we all kind of freak out. So uh, that was awesome. You picked up probably 2 shots on most people in the field there, just naturally because it really is into that wind is a tough hole. So uh, that definitely helped
Yeah.
us. So,
To your point, the vibes were already high, but that was, I think, just a complete mood changer for like, I think that really switched our mentality there at that point. That you've got like what, 5 or 6 holes left. You do that and you're like, okay, this is really kind of the last hard hole that we have left. And hey, maybe we can make a run at this thing. But I sit there and laugh too, just thinking about from back there from 208 after I hit it. And, we didn't know realistically, we probably had an idea that it had a legit chance of going in, but we didn't really know just because of the way the ridge was. You couldn't really see it just fully drop in the hole, but I definitely kind of lost the ball after it landed, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I know a couple of guys in the group were like, hey, I think he made it, like we should just go ahead and go up there now. And you were like, whoa, 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 we still got to hit like 2 more other golf shots, like let's make sure we hit all of our golf shots. We'll go up there. And those who jump on our social page on Instagram, you'll be able to kind of see the raw reaction, because I looked at Connor and was like, hey, if this thing happens to be in the cup, we need to make sure to get, video footage of us walking up just one for proof the BustaJack boys, so that way we can needle them a little bit more and kind of bust their chops, and send the video back to them, but also for proof that, hey, this legit happened. And so that's the video that everybody will see if you jump on our Instagram, of Konner behind the camera, just kind of walking from the cart all the way up to the green, and the raw reaction where the reality that set in that the ball's in the bottom of the cup, and that's when things kind of went nuts. And I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of people on the golf course that heard the roar that came from us on that hole.
Yeah, that was pretty loud. But I just want to point something out. I hit 4-iron after you, and I was like 20 yards long. I really don't think
you were over the green. I do remember watching you hit it, and you hit a really good one too, and it one hopped over, and I was like, okay, fair enough.
So, maybe you need to get in the gym.
Yeah, or maybe I need a fresh pair of Strixon irons to get me dialed.
That could help for sure.
And I'm thinking about, like, once that happens and the 4-iron's no longer in play, I think that thing is just, there's a space right here on my wall, perfect for a shadow box of a 4-iron and just marking it down.
Yeah, I mean, I've never made one from over 200, so I would probably, I would.
I mean, why not?
I would either break it and throw it in the pond, or I would keep it forever.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've seen some helicopter throws. I could definitely see that happening.
Not from me.
No, never.
So, a couple of other things about the tournament I want to touch on. Mason and Cole played from BustaJack, played with Micah Morris, and I've met Micah before. He's super nice, awesome guy. His wife is awesome. I played golf with his wife. She hits it great, and just they're a lot of fun to be around, all of them. But as far as hitting bombs,
I know exactly where you're going. You're talking about 18, aren't you?
I've never seen anybody hit it where he hit it on 18. And I've played it in the same harder, blowing harder. I've played it hotter and blowing harder. And 18 is a par 5. Typically in the south wind, you have to hit a really good one, and then it's like 3-wood just to get it on the front edge or around the front edge. And it plays really hard. Maybe not hard. I mean, it's hard to get it on the green end too. It was downwind, obviously, because the wind was out of the north. You hit a great drive there. We had 177. And I talked to Micah after. He had 117. That
makes me feel just so small. I mean,
so
117.
117. So what's wild in that group there, he obviously bombs the ball. And if you follow him on social media, you'll be able to see. And when he hits it, he looks like smooth, like Freddie Couples. Like, it does not look like he's swinging at it. And then Cole and Mason both hit it pretty dang far as well. I would say Mason hits it past me a little ways, and Cole is just short of us, maybe like a few yards. And Cole will hit the knuckleball every now and then that really takes off and runs. So they had some bombers in their group, and it would have been fun. I think they're posting the video, so it'll be fun to see their day, how it went. There was a lot of really tough golf shots out there with the wind, and we just, we obviously got lucky. There was a couple of really lucky shots, but we also hit it really good. So it was a blast. We ended up pulling away with the dub, and I'm honestly shocked at what we shot. We shot 20 under. We made 2 pars, 3 eagles on the back 9, and before people freak out, number 12 on the back 9 is a par 4. The tee box was moved up to where it was drivable, so it's not we didn't do anything super crazy. It was just drivable, and we happened to get a putt to go in. And we made birdie on the 13, the other par five. So, and then Brad's hole out, and 18 was downwind, so we made eagle there. So, super fun. Probably the most fun scramble I've ever played in. There was drinks every 2 or 3 holes. There was people walking around or driving around, making sure everyone was happy. They had a closest to the pin with flight scope normalized to where you're hitting a ball 155 yards, closest to the pin, no wind or anything. So it's all through the launch monitor, and you get to watch it on the iPad. And that was super fun. I think that just brings a little different aspect to it, closest to the pin. Closest to the pin on the golf course is cool, but that was super cool. And they did it for cash, which was awesome. So you could throw in $20 to compete, and I think the guy ended up winning $1,200.
Yeah,
which is like,
nice.
And they got second, which was awesome. And I think for second they got custom fit PXG putters.
Yeah, and I think it was like $100 a Top Golf or something like that a piece too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, for second place, that's unbelievable. All the prizes were like that. So, and then obviously the prizes for first were, honestly, that's silly. Like, it's too good. So we're lucky that we kind of had it going that day, because I played a couple days before that, and I did not have it going. So it all kind of came together at the right time for us there. So we got lucky, but we are also going to be super lucky. Mason and Cole are talking about coming on the pod. We're going to be setting up a schedule, something on the calendar, hopefully in the next few weeks, and we will get them interviewed. We'll talk about their tournament. We'll talk about their journey through becoming influencers, and just what it's been like, and what it's looking like in the future for them, because it really is a cool thing what they're doing. So pretty awesome about that. I know you're excited about that. And we have a bunch of people that, after they saw the post, I had a bunch of texts saying, "Hey, do you know these guys?" And lucky enough, I got paired with them in the USAM qualifier. If not, I would never know him. This would have never happened. And so it just really worked out. And it's kind of part of Holesome, like who golf brings into your life, and it just really is. They're just good people. So
I'm looking forward to that conversation. I think we'll get a chance to really kind of expand the story a little bit, learn a little bit more about them, outside of golf, just kind of have a good chat and get to know them more. Hopefully maybe it leads into us playing them in a couple of 2v2 matches. I know that's something they've done a little bit. And I've heard them talk about some fun and exciting things that they have coming up, which is exciting to watch too, because you get to kind of, it makes everything feel a little bit more real. You meet them, you get a chance to interact with them, you find out how cool guys they are and what good dudes they are, and you're like, look, this is awesome. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they're getting a lot of these awesome opportunities, because they just, like I said, they just have done it really organically, and they're just two really good dudes. So yeah, I'm pumped to get that chat rocking and rolling here. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I know that they have busy schedules, traveling around a lot. I know we made the joke that I'm sure that they're not spending a whole lot of time sleeping in their own houses nowadays, because of the fact that they have started to really add on a lot of stuff to their schedule. But with that comes a lot of really cool and fun opportunities. So it'll be exciting for us to kind of follow along and kind of be brought along for the ride a little bit there, but also kind of just chat with them and just kind of give them another platform to kind of tell their story and talk about their experience in the game of golf.
Absolutely. So we'll look forward to that and sharing that with you guys. But now on to the fun stuff. I'm about to stump Bradley.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Favorite hole at Gentle Creek?
Oh, I mean, part of me wants to say like, oh yeah, 14. I made it from 208. Like
You didn't even get to
naturally,
experience that.
true. Yes, I didn't get the full experience. Ooh, uh, that's a tough one. Honestly, you don't get to see it very often. I really enjoyed 18. I wish it was probably not downwind and probably not playing as easy. It'd be even more fun. Because of the options it gives you. You go left, you have kind of a bunker that completely divides two fairways. You can go either route, gives you a couple different angles at the green. I think too, it gives you a little bit of some strategy involved, knowing where the pin is, maybe going right's better for certain pins, going left's better for other pins. And I'm sure that it's not very normal for you to have 177, or if you're Micah and you just hit the ball a mile, having 117. I mean, that makes that golf hole just unfair. But no, I thought that was a really cool hole. Obviously, there's a ton of really good ones, but probably first pass at the golf course, first time I've ever visited, that'd be a hole that I would definitely remember and would like to play again.
Sweet. Um, Mine is probably 7. Par 4 up the hill to the left. We got lucky. It was downwind, right? So we hit lob wedge into it. Typically, it plays into the wind, and there's a big fairway, like there's a big ridge in the fairway. And so, like, if you tug one a little left, it'll feed down that ridge. And it's really, really good when it's playing hard into the wind because you have to hit something flatted into a green that has it's 2 tiers, but it's almost 3 tiers because front right is a little higher than front left. And as you saw, you could throw it off a slope where the pin was. So depending on where where the pin is, you can really play the hole a lot of different ways. And when you miss that green, I've seen a friend miss that green just left to the same pin we were playing, and it is
Dead.
down the hill. When
Yeah,
it's fast,
dead.
it gets way down the hill, and he has a really, really hard shot from down there. So, like I said, lucky we put it downwind. Got to hit a little foot wedge in there, but typically that one is awesome. Now, here's the real stumper. Which hole would you change, and what would you do to it?
Oh man. Interesting. Because I know that we like to kind of analyze golf holes and figure out kind of um honestly, I would probably change hole one. I'm not a big fan. I don't know. Something irked me about, like, in reality, like if I was playing in a tournament where I'm keeping my own score, I'm hitting iron off of one because there's really nowhere to hit it. I mean, you hit it through the fairway.
You got it downwind.
Yes, fair. So yeah, I don't know. I'm something about one kind of had me a little sideways at times.
It's
Man,
actually a good starting hole,
yeah,
but
you stumped me because this is definitely not a question I thought about before today.
told you.
Yeah, I may have to think about that, and maybe I might have a better answer when we chat with the BustaJack boys to chat about maybe a hole I would change.
I've got 2 that I would change, and it's because that it affects the golf course with the first one.
Okay.
So I've got a change that'll affect 2 or 3 holes really. So you have
Mm.
to really bear with me here. Number 12, the par 4 that we drove and we made eagle. We drove it because they moved us up to the 300 tee. It normally plays like 390 or so, and you have to lay up short of the water. I don't mind the hole. I think the second shot is too easy for the caliber of hole it could be. There's 200 yards behind the back tee box of grass. And, typically on a normal wind, you hit 5 iron, 6 iron, even maybe you might hit a 4 iron, but that's aggressive. You lay it up short of the skinny part, and you hit pitching wedge 9 iron, depending on where the pin is. The green is great. It has a lot of slope to it. It's long. If you miss it right, it's fast and firm. I would shave the front bank so that if you miss it short, it goes in the water, because I've seen them get held up there, and it just, like, if you miss it there, it should go in the water. I think it's a really good green because it's narrow. If you miss it long, it's gone. You're losing your ball. So you have to hit a good shot. But if you move the tee back, you have to hit driver, which makes the hole a lot better. And then, some of the longer guys may be able to hit 3-wood 9 iron still, but it still makes you hit 2 good shots. Right now, you can like chunk hook one out there and still have 9 iron in. So I like the hole, move it back, makes it much better. Now
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, the major changes come on the next hole.
Okay. So the par 5 13th.
Right. So if you haven't played it, you hit something out there, 300's the max you hit it. And really 300 can be even a bit much. I think the tee shot was a little into when we hit it yesterday, and Dylan hit a really good one, and it probably went 285, 290 into the wind and was perfect, right?
Yeah.
From there, we had 275 uphill into the wind. Pretty tough second shot. It's not hard because there's nothing around. Like, you could hit it in a greenside bunker, but it's not like you're gonna hit an iron into this par 5 and make eagle very often. Now, basically center of the fairway, where you can see through the gap of trees. The reason I don't like the hole is you only can see from the tee box your tee shot.
Yeah.
And then you can't see anything else. And that would be okay, but the second shot's just not good. Yeah. So from the second shot, where you can see through the tree line, back it up to about 300, 320, 330, whatever you want to be, make it drivable. But I personally would push the green back to where it's up in the, because there's a dam right there that goes to 14, to where it's back in the dam. So okay. That way you can have a fairway short right, hitting up, if you lay one up, you have a shot. It just makes it a fun short 4, drivable, not necessarily easy. You could still make it challenging. You still have to hit a good tee ball. But, and for those of you who still want 2 par 5s, the next hole, it's already long when you play it into the wind. When you play it downwind, it's impossible to make it long because it's just so downwind and firm. But there's a dam that runs 500 yards to the clubhouse.
Put it over there on the part of the dam.
Just put the tee box back there.
Yes.
Play it as a par 5.
Big fan of that.
Yeah, super sick. It gets a little more creative. I know logistically it doesn't really make sense, because how are you gonna? No one wants to walk all the way back there, but
I do. If it makes the golf hole better, why wouldn't you? I mean, there's only a certain number of people who are going to be playing that tee anyways.
Yeah, but your average member play, they're not going to want to walk all the way back there.
Fair.
So
yeah,
you can't drive your cart very close to it, because the dam is, it's basically made to drive one cart all the way across it. So that would be awesome. Then you go tough 4, short 4, drivable, and then a good 5.
Fair. Yeah. Well, and you have this short 3 before all of that too, right after that.
Right after that, yeah. Short 3, 15 is really, it's a good hole. I don't typically play it well, but it is a really good hole. And for whatever reason, that one, when someone misses short, it never stays up, and I think that's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like, thinking about you talking the reroute. I actually enjoy the new routing that you would give that. I mean, I think it makes sense. To your point, I obviously haven't played 12 in the natural way it should be played. So playing it playing it in its natural way would probably have given me a little bit different of a vibe about that hole, because it would have been like, okay, you playing it, whether you're playing it from 300 or 390, yeah, 300, you're, in a tournament, I'm still probably not hitting driver, just because of the fact that
Yeah.
I know that there's nowhere really to hit it. I mean, you only hit driver and scramble because, you can get somebody put out in the fairway from 300 yards, and you just, everybody else just rips driver and hopes that somebody, hits a good one. And we got lucky when that happened. But I think that even from 390, like, you're still laying up. You just may not be laying up with an 8 or 7 iron. You may be laying up with, a 5 or a 4 iron. And to me, it doesn't materially change the hole at all. Moving it, I mean, you would have to substantially lengthen the hole and make it like a 470 hole.
Right.
Put another, 60, 70, 80 yards to the hole, make it to where, and maybe you even bring in the fairway a little bit and make it a little bit tighter off the tee. So that way, you have to hit a good ball. I mean, I think there's something to be said that, yes, I don't think there's enough risk, to your point, in the second shot. I mean, you hit a good tee shot, second shot's kind of a piece of cake. There's nothing there, especially if you've got a short iron in your hand, that's really keeping you from hitting kind of wherever you want. And to your point, you throw in a little bit of the, hey, if you miss this thing a yard short and it's in the drink, that changes kind of a little bit of the mentality there, knowing that you really can't hit it long either, because it bounces over and it's gone. So I like that. I'm always a big fan of short fours. So taking that par 5, which to me is just, there's some holes where I just always scratch my head that they seem to do it on par 5s more than anything. I'll make these just second shots that make you want to have like a 280 in, and you really, on a normal day, you couldn't hit driver on that hole on a normal day when it's not into the wind. And that's no fun when you have to hit iron off a tee and then you still can't get there. Like, we've played holes like that before. Doesn't really make sense to me. So I like the thought of taking that to a short 4. Then that would give you a little fun way of getting from 12 to 13 tee. You could make a fun, maybe make a cool little bridge over the water and give some cool aesthetic look there. Yeah, I'm all for it. And obviously the damn tee box, count me in. Done.
No brainer on the damn tee box. I got one even better for you. Move the fairway on 14 up against the water.
Yeah, because it's not, the water is not in play. I mean, even where it's at, it's not in play. So yeah, I think you should, you need to shift it over 30 yards. Just literally take the hole where the fairway is and shift the bunkers and everything with it over a solid 20 or 30 yards.
Green too, and then you miss the green on the left side, it's in the water. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I like it. I'm a big fan. Now that I know that these type of questions are coming my way, I'll be thinking a little bit more on the golf course moving forward. I was just having a good time, pouring in shots from 208 yards and dropping as many birdies as we can make. I mean, man, you caught me on that one.
Now you know what rolls through my head while I'm playing golf.
Touche. See, there you go, listeners. Now you get a nice peek behind the curtain into the brain of a one Connor Malcolm.
That's not pretty. And General, and I don't mean like to knock General Creek, because I really do love it. I love playing it. There's almost every hole is good, so don't think that I'm bashing it at all. That would be my own personal touches, and that's just because that's my opinion, and that doesn't mean that it's right. It's just how I feel. So General Creek does a nice job. Obviously, people don't have to agree. So, but I don't want someone to hear this and think that I don't enjoy General Creek, because that is not the case. I do enjoy it very much.
It's just our fun hypotheticals. I mean, let's be real. We've all gone to golf courses and gone, man, I'd be curious. Like, what if you did this to that hole? What if you did that to that hole? What would it materially change the thought process from a competitive standpoint, is the way that we look at it, or from a sheer fun, whole standpoint, yeah, I mean, shoot, the golf course was awesome. I mean, I have no complaints about the golf course. It was in great shape. It's just us throwing fun hypotheticals out there, and there may be some people who play Gentle Creek and go, hey, I've never thought about that, and that's actually a really cool idea. But I promise, we're not changing Gentle Creek, and we're not pushing for Gentle Creek to change. It's just fun to talk hypotheticals, because I mean, that's what we do.
Yep. So we will see everyone next time. We've got some cool guests lined up over the next few episodes. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you later.